I had full-blown acne for the first time in my life, and I had tried everything to get rid of it, and being an esthetician, I have access to all these products, and nothing was working.
Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Carpe Diem Living, and I'm your host, Shane Gitmed, and today we have someone on the show which I know a lot of women especially are going to want to hear from, and it has to do with skin, but she's tying in holistic methods, and she calls herself a holistic esthetician. So this is the first I've ever heard about it, so I definitely want to learn more, as I'm sure everyone else. So Samantha, take it away and tell us about, you and how you got into this.
Thank you, Shane. I'm really excited to be here today. So I've been a licensed esthetician for 18 years. And when I first started out, microdermabrasion was like the hottest thing, and medical spas had just opened up. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is it. That's where I have to go. I realized like after 2 years, I hated it. Ended up in a day spa for a couple years until I had children. And then when I opened up my treatment room in 2010, I wanted to have a little different approach because literally at that time there was a spa on every corner. So I was like, how can I stand out and make myself a little different? And going back a little bit, I never had acne as a teenager. I was very blessed with good skin. And it wasn't until I was an adult and went off birth control. I wanted to be off for a year or so before having a baby. And within a couple months, I had full-blown acne for the first time in my life. And I had tried everything to get rid of it. And being an esthetician, I have access to all these products, and nothing was working until I got pregnant. And then my skin was fine again. And each pregnancy, my skin was clear. So just like every other woman, I'm like, oh, it's hormonal. And eventually my hormones will, even out and my skin will be good. I have 3 children. And after my third was born, I was trying to lose the last of the baby weight. I had been eating well, exercising. I signed up for a half marathon, and I just couldn't lose those last 10 pounds. A friend of mine was like, why don't you do a gut cleanse? Do like a 2-week detox, clean, get rid of all those inflammatory foods. They give you diets and supplements and all this stuff. And in less than 2 weeks, my skin completely cleared up. So from then on, I have just made it my mission to help other women realize that, just because you have acne or a skin problem, you could put all this stuff on your face, but until you clean your gut out, it's not going to make an impact. So that's my mission.
Wow. See, I am loving your work already, and we just started because, for me, so same like you, when I grew up child, high school, I never had skin issues. I was completely fine. A lot of people actually told me like, you're so lucky because you've never had to deal with crazy pimples. And like, I had friends who had really, their acne was really like hard for them. And I felt so bad because it was even to a point where I hardly even wore face makeup, like foundation or anything. I really didn't use it. I maybe used eyeliner. So yeah, but it wasn't until later on, so I didn't have skin problems throughout most of my adulthood. And then it was in the fall of 2018 where all of a sudden I was having eczema flare-ups. And I was like, what in the world is going on? At first I was like, when you research things, you're trying to find, especially when it comes to skin, you try to look for images. So I was like, well, I think I have psoriasis. I thought that's what it was at first. Mm-hmm. And then I go to my doctor and she's like, no, I think it's eczema. And I'm thinking, okay, when I was a kid, I had a very brief flare-up, very brief. So I didn't even really count it. I know I was given like a steroid cream because that's the norm, right? Like you just get a steroid cream and then you're good. And then when my son, when he was still a baby, like before he was even 6 months, he did have a flare up like on his chest, and it an eczema flare up. Mm-hmm. So this was before I got into anything holistic, and I was given a steroid cream to put on him, and it did go away. So it's kind of hard, I know, for most people that aren't very familiar with holistic practice. They think, well, if it's not good for you, then why is the steroid cream clearing it? And you're kind of like, well, it doesn't mean, even if it works, it's still not solving the problem.
It's like putting on a Band-Aid.
Right. And I can't stress that idea enough. It truly is like a mindset shift. You have to think like, do you just want to clear it up so the look of it goes away, or do you truly want to get rid of it so it's gone, you know?
Right.
So, oh my gosh. Okay, so tell us more about so what methods worked for you along with, you know, when your acne came about after you had your kids? Like, yeah, tell us about your journey with that.
Yeah. So since then I had gone back to eating crappy. You go on and off for years because you're like, this really isn't the problem. It's like you're almost in denial with yourself. And it wasn't until 2018 when I started eating keto. And then in 2019, I gave up dairy completely. And since giving up dairy and sugar, I've noticed a huge change in my skin. And it's to the point where if I have like butter in something, within a couple days, I get a flare up. Like I get those nasty breakouts. Like, and it's only one or two, but it's enough to be like, oh, why did I do that to
Right.
myself?
Is it worth it?
I've just learned to eat really clean, and now my diet consists of mostly protein and vegetables. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things like you have to commit to yourself, and you have to think to yourself, is it worth breaking out? And we all, like, I was going through a divorce during that time. So I was drinking wine. I wasn't eating very well. I was eating a lot of sweets, and it was like, your skin is a reflection of what you're putting in your body. So I just had to get to that point where I was like, enough is enough. And, clients have to get to that point too.
Right. And see, that's the one thing I didn't even realize we had in common. So you said 2018 was when you started having skin situations, right? Or when you switched up what you were doing. So
Yeah.
2018 was when me and my ex-husband actually separated, and my flare-up started happening after my
Right.
my divorce, and everything was starting to happen. And so a lot of people were like, I think it's stress. Like, it's not
Mm-hmm.
just what you're consuming, but it's also stress. And
Yep.
you hear that a lot, like, stress causes this and this, and you're like, okay, yeah, because like it's kind of hard to just eliminate stress from your life completely, right? It's almost
Yeah,
like how when you're raising kids. It just doesn't make sense.
exactly.
But yeah, I know for my situation specifically, because I was seeing a naturopath too, and he was like, no, it's a combination between diet, lifestyle, and stress. And so for me, I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna have to try to do things to reduce my stress naturally. So whatever that
Mhm.
is, right? And even like you, like there was a time where yes, like I consumed more wine than I should have, just during that time. Because that's a
Mhm.
big thing, especially when you're married and then you become a single mom and you have three
Yeah.
kids. I have one. So I can't even imagine going through that, and you have multiple children at home. Like that's,
Mhm.
my gosh, my heart goes out to you with that. But yeah, it's really interesting. And I mean, I just love, how you're really trying to show your clients, like, it's really not just, what's the best cream out there, or the
Mhm.
expensive one from Sephora. Like, it
Yeah.
just, there's all these misconceptions. So
Yeah.
as far as products, okay, so you tie in your esthetician services with holistic. So other than talking about, healing your gut, what products, actual skin products, do you recommend for people?
So that's the tricky part, because a lot of the over-the-counter products, they just aren't designed to help women. A lot of them, like, for example, I'm just going to use an acne line. Acne line, a lot of women that are suffering from adult acne will purchase products like that. Those products are designed for somebody with really oily skin, like a teenager. And so if you're older and you have drier skin and you're putting on an acne line, you're actually going to create what we call dehydrated skin. Your skin becomes super dry and it pulls all the oil out of the skin. And I know when I was back in school and years ago, it was like the Noxzema pad, strip the oil, like that was the thing. And now we're realizing that, oh my gosh, we actually need this oil. It's actually good for our skin because it keeps the moisture levels higher. So, you don't want to strip away that oil. You want to keep the oil like at a normal rate so that oil glands don't overproduce. And a lot of times that'll even create like skin sensitivity or, excessive dry skin, or there's all of these problems that we can create by grabbing the wrong type of products. Because really, most of us don't know our skin type. And that's right there is the biggest problem. Like, I really recommend everybody at some point get your skin assessed by an esthetician, because we have hands-on training, we have the knowledge, we understand biology and chemistry and like how the skin functions. So we can really take a look at your skin, and just by looking at it and touching it, like we can tell what you're doing to your skin, and we can actually create like a home care routine that will actually fix and repair the skin. So I personally love like cleansers and toners and products that actually work for your skin type. But again, it's hard to understand that. I feel like it's hard for me to even explain that to people, because it's like, until I see your skin, like I really can't tell you what's going on.
Right.
But I do recommend, like if you're dry, you want something a little more creamy. If you're oily, you want something that's gel based. I always tell people to avoid acne lines, because they're very, very drying and stripping, and they actually make the acne worse. So I hope that helped a little bit.
Oh, no, totally. Because
Yeah.
I just think back of like my own, like when I would get like a makeup appointment, or I'll
Mhm.
give you one example. So I went to Macy's once, and I really wasn't even looking to get a whole new skincare regimen product
Mhm.
line. But I go, you know how that is. You go to the
Yeah.
beauty counter and you get sucked in, and you're just like, okay,
Mhm.
fine, I'm listening. Because every time I either go there or Sephora, some of the people ask you, so what is your current skincare regimen? And
Right.
you automatically think, well, they're the expert. Of course, I'm going to listen to them, or they have more knowledge than I do. So, but then come to find out, one time I did this whole thing with Macy's, with Estee Lauder. And
Mhm.
she convinced me to, buy this moisturizer and this toner and blah, 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 blah. Okay, fine. I did that. But then I went to go get a facial, maybe like a couple weeks later. And the esthetician told me, she's like, actually, what you're using is causing more, like it's clogging your pores, because
Mhm.
whatever you're using is already really oily. And if you already have somewhat of oily skin, it's just like blocking. And I was like,
Yeah.
well, dang it. And this cream was like $50 or whatever.
Right.
So it's just, I feel like that's the biggest issue when it comes to skincare, is a lot of
Mhm.
women, they have an idea in mind of what they want their skin to look like, but we
Right.
forget how different all of our skin is.
Mhm.
So not one product is going to work for us all, or not one,
Yeah.
I think that's the hard part. Um,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. And it's interesting because, like you said, you were there looking at her as the expert. She's just a sales girl. She just knows how to sell that product. She really doesn't have an understanding. And it breaks my heart, because I know these girls love skincare. And it's like, I just wish that these companies would educate them, or make them have a license or some kind of background, so that way they can help people more. Because that's the problem. If you really don't understand how the skin functions, you can't put somebody in a product that's going to work, because you just don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
And ever since then, I learned, like, I am only going to get advice from an esthetician. Like,
Yeah.
unless
Yep.
someone that really knows, like, if they
Hmm.
tell me, like, okay, this is what you need, okay, I'm going to listen to you.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a question. So I have a friend who, so she's really into skincare because, she had a lot of acne. And I actually gave her advice on how to do things holistically, right? With cleaning the gut, are you a
Hmm.
fan of juicing, like celery juicing or anything? Have you
I've never done juicing, but I've had a few clients that have gotten great results with it.
Yeah, me included. Like when I did
Hmm.
celery juicing, it really helped clear up my skin. It was like a
Hmm.
whole great ball game. But so she started using a lot of vegan skincare products, and man, they're so pricey. Like it was just kind of,
Hmm.
I don't know, like that's really, I don't know, it's really steep. Do you, as an esthetician, do you recommend? I don't know if you can even answer this, but do you recommend like vegan skincare? Like, is there that big of a difference from what you can buy from, I don't know, from Monat, or from, I don't even know what the vegan skincare names are, but
Yeah.
when
I'm not too familiar with vegan skincare lines. I just know, like, um, I know they don't test them on animals.
Mhm.
And I think there's certain ingredients that they can and can't use.
Right.
The problem is, like, even there's some lines that use like a lot of essential oils and botanicals, and they're plant-based. That doesn't always work for people, because I
Mhm.
mean, even with essential oils, like some people are sensitive and can react to essential oils.
Right.
So if it's all plant-based, it doesn't always necessarily work with the skin, because our skin is human skin and the plant is plant-based. It's like the stem cells, when they take them from like vegetables and fruits and stuff, it doesn't work as well on our skin, because the composition of a plant and the composition of our skin are two different components. So I hope that helped.
Yeah, no,
Like I said, I'm not too familiar with the vegan skincare lines.
no, for sure. I'm just like, for me, I just like to learn whatever I can. So I'm just,
Yeah.
yeah. So during COVID, so I'm curious. So
Mhm.
obviously, are you even able to operate right now? Where are you located? I don't
Yeah.
even know if I asked you that.
I'm in Chicago. I'm in a suburb of Chicago. So
Yeah.
yes,
Okay.
I've been I've been open since June 1st, and I have been taking clients. So it's been nice to be back.
Yeah, I can only imagine because I'm in California and I'll tell you,
Okay.
everything is barely
Everything's
starting.
shut down.
Yeah, and they're doing outdoor services, and I've
Hmm.
had an outdoor pedicure, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like I don't even know. Like I was just like, okay, as long as my toes look good, but the experience
Hmm.
itself was kind of like, this is not what you want from
Yeah.
a pedicure. Yeah, oh my goodness.
Hmm.
Um, so okay, so what I guess holistic procedures do you incorporate with the work you do? So you tell women like, okay, you need to clear your gut because if you have skin problems, but is there anything special that you do like during the actual process when working with someone?
Yeah. So I don't do anything aggressive. Like I don't do any peels. I don't do microdermabrasion. I don't do anything that's going to harm the surface of the skin. Because our skin is basically our skin is the barrier. It protects our internal organs and the rest of our body from harm. And so we need to keep our barrier intact. So everything I do, I use natural. I have an organic skincare line that I use they're from Canada. So, and they sell exclusively to spas and salons. So you can only get it from an esthetician or a licensed professional. And the other line I have is a peptide line. And peptides are a chain of amino acids. So it's like putting protein on the skin, and a peptide will actually teach your skin how to self-correct. So I use that. And then my favorite treatment, which is like my niche, is called microcurrent. So it uses these metal probes and it teaches the facial muscles to lift and tighten. So it's like a workout for your face. It's like going to the gym. Clients come in for about 8 to 10 weekly treatments just to get that muscle to tighten and lift. It'll help with fine lines. It smooths out like the forehead and the 11s here. And it even like helps with the neck and the jawline as well. So it's a really great natural treatment for somebody that doesn't want to do like Botox injections or even like laser procedures.
Got it. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that I didn't even know about any of those because I mean, I'm just used to, I mean, what I'm trying to remember the name of those procedures either I've had or not
Mhm.
procedures, I'm sorry, like facial treatments. But I've heard of one that's called like vampire glass, or
Oh,
there's
yeah.
been like, okay, so what is that? Like, that sounds so insane to me with just the title of it. And I'm like, I don't even know
I
if that's
know.
safe. Like, what's going on there?
I'm not 100% certain because I think that's something you have to do like with a dermatologist or a plastic surgeon. I think because I think that's the one where they extract your blood and spin it and inject the plasma back into your skin. I could be wrong, but I know that one's like super crazy.
That sounds, yeah, that sounds insane. I just
Yeah,
saw the name once and I was like, okay, not doing that.
no.
Um, there's another one that I'm trying to recall the name. I'm horrible right now. It's the one where they use like a light. I know it's a light, and then they kind of like scan it all over. And I don't know if it's like the celebrity one, but they use a lot of hydrochloric acid or what?
Okay.
Yeah. But I guess for me, like now that I'm knowing, like there's certain things you should stay away from. If someone
Mhm.
say a person came to you and was like, I want to start getting facials just to like maintain my skin, what would
Mhm.
you recommend from a holistic standpoint on what procedures they should start with?
So it's really about the home care. I mean, yes, facials are important because I can do a deep cleaning and I can, like, if somebody's really dry, I can hydrate them or, I can calm their acne or I can treat whatever's going on with their skin. But really, it's up to the client. I always say it's what you do every single day, twice a day, that's going to make the most impact because if you're using crappy products that are hurting your skin, you come and get a facial and go back to using those crappy products, you're never going to see improvement. You have to use products that work. It's like going to the dentist, getting your teeth cleaned, and then not brushing and flossing for 6 months. So, I simplify my clients' skincare. It doesn't have to be crazy because, again, we think of skincare as these huge lines with like tons of products. And I'm like, cleanser, toner, Twice a week, you need to exfoliate. You need a serum morning and night. And then you need to moisturize. And you should have 2 moisturizers, SPF for the day and like a hydrating one overnight. It doesn't need to get more complicated than that because we overcomplicate things. And as long as you're using the right products, it actually saves you money because you simplify it and cut everything down.
That makes sense. Yeah, that totally does. Because I think that's what's always intimidated me about skincare was like, oh my gosh, it's literally a whole nother routine. And when you're a
Yeah.
busy mom, let alone a single mom, you're like,
Yeah.
when would I even have time to do this? Like, I'm literally like, this is another job. Like, but I mean, since I'm such a sponge, I love to learn whatever I can. So anything I can learn from this episode, I'll definitely apply. So when I was younger, like how I told you, I never had anything with my skin, right? I never had issues. I literally just used just one cleanser and I didn't even need moisturizer at one point. So coming from, so Monat, have you ever used any of Monat's products at all?
I've heard of them. I've never used them.
Okay. Because that's where for me right now, I guess I'm trying to figure out, like, I know you can't really tell because obviously you haven't looked at my skin, but I'm trying to figure out, like, yeah, any products you can recommend that isn't technically like a specialty, like it's more for like your basic, like, let's say you already know you normally have dry skin. What would you recommend just to start?
So for somebody with dry skin, I would recommend a creamy cleanser. I wouldn't recommend something that's gel-based because that can strip the skin and create more dryness. So creamy cleansers are designed for like a dry skin type. And really somebody that has dry skin, they have very little to no oil. So if you look at their skin, their pore size is really small. So that's how you know somebody's skin is naturally dry. Dehydrated skin is something that we've created, and that's by just using like an acne product that's pulling all oil and moisture out of the skin, like charcoal masks. Those will dehydrate the skin. Those are actually really bad. I don't ever recommend them. I know everybody loves them, but it's like, it's literally like suctioning all the oil and moisture out of your skin. It like sucks the life out of your skin basically, which is why people love them for wrinkles and pores because it gets rid of everything, literally.
Yeah. I feel like you like read my mind because I was trying to remember like what mask I bought recently because I just found a Sephora and I was so since I had a lot of like food sensitivities with my whole gut issue, I'm still I'm being very cautious with what I put on my skin still. Like even though my allergies are healed, I'm like, I don't know if I want to put like a grapefruit mask on or something with mint. I'm really nervous because I don't know if I go into hives on my whole face, I'll freak out, right? So the safest one out of all the options was charcoal. So I was like, why not get some charcoal masks? Because I know, there's like pore strips for them, but you basically just answered my question that it's really just going to take everything off. And that's really terrifying. So if charcoal masks are so bad, what's all the hype then? Like, I'm genuinely confused and like, cause I started seeing charcoal, like toothpaste, charcoal, this and this. And it was like a craze. I almost felt like I was just like, I don't know why all of a sudden we think this is safe. Yeah, why do you think that is? Like,
cause it's instant results. Because it pulls so much oil and moisture out of the skin, it like literally, it's like a raisin. It like sucks, like, or having a grape, it like sucks the life out of it. So it like tightens everything up. But then your skin obviously goes back to its original state at some point, but you do create like damage that continues. And, if you do that for several years, you could create damage that you can't fix.
Oh my gosh. See, now that makes me want to return them. Like, I'm literally thinking like, a good thing I didn't even open one. I got like 4. So I think I just like get rid, because I figured just start it, like do like once a week. But honestly, out of all my skin on myself, my face has always actually been intact. Like I've still never, like I'm so thankful my eczema flare up stayed like either like on my hands or my arms, because I don't know, I wouldn't do well. So do you offer like any services or like online things for clients that are like far away that aren't in Chicago?
Yeah, I do virtual consultations, so I can sit down with you, via Zoom or FaceTime. And I can, we can sit down, we can talk about your skin and your gut and all kinds of, different things that are going on. And I can make recommendations for you based on, what's going on for you. And then I don't know when this is going to air, but starting August 17th, I'm doing a 5-day skin challenge, like a live through Facebook, just to talk about the different aspects like mindset, skincare, gut health, overall lifestyle related to the skin.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know like the skin's very tricky. There's a lot of back and forth between, because there's some people that are so set, like, no, the skin is separate. It has nothing to do with your gut.
Yeah.
All you need is this lotion and this cleanser, and this oil. Like it can go on and on and on. And then there's people that are like, no, it's the gut is your second brain, and
Yep.
anything you put in there, it comes out. And
Yep.
so, okay, so I thought of another question. So anyone that is dealing with acne, with eczema, what foods would you say like absolutely stay away from?
The top 3: gluten, dairy, sugar. And I know those are like in everything, and it's composed of everybody's diet. It is hard to get rid of it. Gluten was easy for me. I was never a big bread person. Sugar was hard. Dairy was really hard. But once I got rid of dairy, I felt so much better. Like my stomach's flat now, and I feel like I lost weight. I don't have that gassy, bloated feeling. I'm no longer tired. You don't realize how bad you feel until you stop eating something. And then you're like, wow, I was really like, I didn't feel bad, but I feel so much better now. Like I have all this energy, and, I don't feel sluggish in the morning when I get up. And, I'm 41. So, I'm getting older, and I need my energy to stay active and run my businesses and take care of my kids and stuff. So, just making that switch, just do it. Just get started, make a commitment, and decide that you're going to do it, because you have nothing to lose, and your health is really on the line if you think about it.
Right. No, it's so true. And then just like you said, like all those things are in everything. And I think that's why it takes so long for people to make that leap, because they're just like, well, then what am I going to eat? They're just like, and it's hard enough that, just like in your most common brands of foods that we grew up with, they have all those things in there. So it truly takes, the commitment, like you said, like you need to go and seek, the proper things that your body needs. Even if it takes a little bit more work, it's worth it, because you're going to feel better. You're going to look better. Like, I mean, for me personally, after I was able to solve my severe allergies and eat something as simple as blueberries, I'll tell you, more people have told me that I look like I'm glowing versus how I was before. And I was like, wow, it must be the berries, because like it was, it's the antioxidant, part of it. And it helps with so many different things. Okay, so I'm curious, what is your self-care routine? So you talked a little bit more, about, what type of products and like using cleanser twice a day, but what do you do, for yourself? What helps you stay up to shape with your skin?
I mean, I have my routine. I do my skincare like every morning, every night. I bring my microcurrent machine home once a week because I don't want to look older. I want to stay young looking as long as I possibly can. So I try and do those treatments like every other week for maintenance. And, I do try and get facials. It's hard because being in the industry, like I have a really good friend who's an esthetician, but her schedule and my schedule don't always seem to match up. But as long as I feel like I'm doing, I've been doing this for so long. So I give myself a little mini facial once a week. I know it's not the same. There's nothing better than laying on a table and having somebody do it to you. Plus I can't do my own extractions because I overpick, and that's bad. But yeah, as long as like peptides are my like go-to, that's my serums. I'm pretty religious about that. And like I said, the microcurrent.
Wow. And now that I think about it, I think I did have the microcurrent done on me, and the esthetician that worked on my skin, she like showed me one on Amazon, and I was like, oh, I don't know if it's the same one that you're talking about, but I think it is. But first of all, you look amazing for your age. So you don't even look older at all. So just nip that in the bud. So whatever you're doing is working. That is for facts. But you were saying something. I'm sorry.
Was it the new face?
I don't even know if it was like a certain brand. Like she sent me a link, and it was just like this thing. It said something with a frequency, and then it's like a little wand that you can just kind of like put over.
Okay. No. There's so many different things. There is a microcurrent at home. It's just, the current's not as strong as what I have.
Okay. Got it. Yeah. Cause I get overwhelmed, honestly, with all the different products and things. I'm just like,
Mhm.
this is a whole nother subject, like a whole nother.
I do too. And I'm in the industry. When I walk into like a store, I'm like, no wonder why women have horrible skin. There's so many options and it's so confusing.
Right. Literally, unless an expert said, okay, hey, this is your skin type, this is what you need, like just completely stops all of the confusion.
Yeah,
That's for sure. Um, so on your website, do you have like the products readily available for people to order from?
I do. I have an online store.
Okay, see, that's what I was going to say, because that just makes it so much easier
Yeah,
for
it does.
anyone that's interested in your services.
Yeah.
My goodness. Um, let me see. There was another thing I wanted to ask you regarding masks, or no, products. So I heard something recently that, like the Clarisonic
Mhm.
brushes with a thing. Do you recommend those or not?
No, and they're going out of business. So I got all excited. So the reason I don't like them is because as they spin, the brushes create these little micro tears in the skin. And so again, with our skin being a barrier to protect our skin, if we're creating micro tears, that's how moisture can leak out. And that's how some of these harmful ingredients that have gone under the wire, that's how they can get in through these little cracks in our skin. Because really our skin is designed to not let anything in. It's more of a detox organ. Everything comes out through our pores and our sweat glands. The skin lets very little, it can let stuff in, it lets very little in. But when we're damaging it and breaking down the barrier from peels or clarisonics or harsh exfoliants, that's how it's getting into the skin.
Wow. See, so I'm glad I waited to ask that, because I was
Yeah.
like, really? Like they've been around forever. And that's another misconception that we have. We assume that products that have been out for years on years on years, we just assume they're
Mhm.
safe because, it's a big name, big brand. And I didn't even know that they were going out of business.
Yeah, they just announced that maybe a couple weeks ago.
Wow. Is it just because of low sales, or because people are literally just like, no, we're canceling them?
I have no idea. I didn't really look into it too much. I saw on one of my esthetician boards that they were shutting down the company. So
Oh my gosh. So since we can't use brushes, ladies, hear this. We can't use the brushes. So what can we do to help cleanse with the cleansers? Like what would, is there another product that we can put on there?
yeah, so I don't recommend doing it with a cleanser because you don't need to exfoliate twice a day. I only recommend like 2 times a week to exfoliate.
Okay.
And I like enzymes because they're a natural ingredient that just gets rid of the surface dirt and oil.
Mhm.
So what happens is our skin always is replenishing. Every 28, 30 days, our skin goes through a cell cycle and it gets new cells to come up to the surface and it pushes the old ones off. The way our barrier is structured, it's stacked like bricks and mortar. So it looks like a brick wall. And what happens is if these dead cells that get pushed off, if they get stuck, they can stick to the glue and they pile up like the leaves pile up on the sidewalk in the fall. So the enzyme is like a brush. It just brushes away the unwanted dead skin cells, but it leaves your skin's barrier intact. So that way you're not getting that. You're still getting the exfoliation. It's helping so products can penetrate, but you're not creating those microscopic holes and creating moisture loss too.
Wow. Okay. So yeah, see see with the exfoliating alone, I was just like, oh, I didn't even know. You can't, I'm just like,
Yeah,
I feel like a new person, just like trying to learn all this.
good. I
No,
know,
but
and that's the thing. It's like they're in every cleanser. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's too much.
yeah, yeah. And see, I feel like someone needs to write like a book that just like a manual. Like this is the
There
manual
you go.
for your skin, because I swear I just feel like as soon as I think I understand, I'm like, nope, that's completely wrong. We got to start out, so we got to reverse. So I
I
feel
actually
like
did write a book on that.
you wrote a book on this.
Yeah, a couple years ago. It's on my
Oh
website.
my gosh. Okay.
Yeah.
Definitely need to order that. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, because I could use, yeah, some more information on the skin. I feel like the skin is I don't know if it's just me, but for me, it feels so mysterious. I'm like, oh, this
Mhm.
works, but this doesn't. And it's like, there's so many different opinions and products. You're just trying to figure it out. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Give me your address. I'll send you one.
Oh my God. Okay. There we go.
Yeah.
I'll definitely, because I definitely want to read it, and I'll share with so many people. Oh my gosh.
Awesome.
But yeah, so where can our listeners find you online? Because I know you have a wealth of knowledge and they would love to learn more about what you do and everything that
Yeah.
comes with esthetician stuff.
So my website is skindeepil as in Illinois.com. And you can find me on Facebook and Instagram at skindeepil.
Oh. Yes, no, this has been just so much knowledge. And ladies, I know there's a lot, I'm sure a lot of you have questions at this point, like, okay, I need to change my whole skincare routine, but that's okay. We're learning, and that's the whole point of this.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, and as all of like our other guests, we will have, yeah, we'll have her in our group. So we'll have her in our Podcast Insiders group. Samantha will be there where you can connect with her and ask her any questions and find, all her information to order her products or learn more. So yeah, so we'll catch you guys next time. And thank you all again for listening. Thank you.
Thank you, Shane.